Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between Kubernetes resource requests and limits. Most teams set these values at random, and that is a massive mistake. Because if you get these wrong, you are either wasting thousands of dollars in cloud costs or waking up to a production outage when your application hits an out-of-memory error. Let us dive in. So what happens when you do not define these resource boundaries? Well, without request, the Kubernetes scheduler essentially flies blind. It might place your memory-intensive application on a node that is already nearly full. Then, when traffic spikes, your pod tries to grab more RAM, but there is none left. The Linux kernel steps in and terminates your process to protect the node. This is a total application crash. Worse, if you do not set limits, one runaway container can starve every other service on that server, turning a local problem into a cluster-wide failure. So what are requests and limits exactly? Let us break it down. A request is a guarantee. When you set a request of 200 megabytes of memory, the Kubernetes scheduler ensures that the node has at least that much free space before it schedules your pod. A limit is a hard cap. It is the maximum amount of resources the container is allowed to use. If it tries to exceed this, the system will stop it. Think of it like a shared office. The request is the desk space you are guaranteed to have to do your work. The limit is the physical size of the building. You can use extra space if it is empty, but you can never, ever expand past the walls of the building itself. Let us look at how this works internally. When you submit a deployment, the scheduler acts as a gatekeeper. It looks at the resource requests in your manifest. It then queries the available capacity on every node in your cluster. It only places your pod on a node that has enough unallocated capacity to satisfy those requests. Once the pod is running, the container runtime enforces the limits you set, ensuring no single container steals resources from its neighbors. Before we start, let us make sure you are ready. You need a functioning Kubernetes cluster, version 1.25 or higher. You must have the kubectl tool installed and configured to communicate with your cluster. You also need permission to create pods in your chosen namespace. If you have not done this before, open your terminal or command prompt, type kubectl version, and press enter to confirm your setup. If you do not see a version output, you need to install the Kubernetes CLI first. Take a moment to review each point shown on screen. Here is a standard configuration file for a pod. Notice the resources block. We define the requests on lines 8 through 10. We are asking for 250 millicores of CPU and 128 megabytes of memory. These are our guarantees. Then, on lines 11 through 13, we define our hard limits. We are saying that this container can burst up to 500 millicores of CPU and 256 megabytes of memory, but nothing more. This gives the application breathing room while protecting the node. To apply this, use the kubectl apply command as shown on screen. Once it is running, you can verify the settings by running a get command with the output format set to YAML. As you can see in the output, the cluster has successfully registered our requested guarantees and our hard limits. This confirms that the scheduler will now use these values to manage where our pod lives and how much it can consume. In a production environment, you should always use a deployment object rather than a raw pod. Here, we are deploying an order processing service with 3 replicas. Notice the requests are set to 1 full core and 512 megabytes of memory. This ensures that even during high load, our processor has dedicated compute power. By keeping the limit at exactly double the request, we allow for predictable performance bursts without risking node instability. To verify this, check the deployment status using kubectl. If all 3 pods are ready, your resource configuration is valid. You can also run the describe command to pipe the resource details into grep. The output confirms that our requests and limits have been correctly applied to every pod in the replica set. This is exactly what you want to see before pushing to a live environment. So what happens if you get these wrong? You will see an OOMKilled status. This stands for out of memory killed. It happens because your application exceeded the memory limit you defined. The kernel killed the process to keep the node alive. If you see this, it means your limit is set too low for your application's actual memory usage, or you have a memory leak that needs fixing. The fix is to analyze your application's memory profile and increase the limit. If your app is hitting a ceiling of 256 megabytes, bump it to 1 gigabyte as shown here. Always monitor your memory usage with metrics tools like Prometheus before blindly increasing limits. Otherwise, you might just be masking a memory leak that will eventually crash the system again. Let me give you a real-world example. A logistics platform tracking 10,000 shipments per minute was seeing nodes restart randomly. They had no resource limits defined. One reporting microservice would experience a traffic spike and consume every byte of RAM on the server. That node would crash, and 50 other services running on that same machine would go down instantly. They implemented strict requests and limits based on observed load. Node-wide crashes dropped by 98%, and their delivery pipeline became stable for the first time in months. So when should you use these? First, use requests for every single production pod to guarantee stability. Second, use limits for every pod to prevent runaway memory leaks. Do not leave limits blank if you care about node health. Now, are there times to avoid them? Yes. You might avoid limits if you have a specialized background job that needs to burst into all available capacity during a low traffic window. Just be careful, because you risk destabilizing the node. Also, do not set requests too high or you will run out of schedulable capacity and your pods will stay in a pending state forever. Use these criteria to decide if this tool is right for your situation. We have covered a lot today. Remember these 4 points. First, requests are your guarantees for scheduling. Second, limits are your hard caps to prevent node crashes. Third, if you see OOMKilled, your limits are likely too low. Finally, always monitor your real-world usage metrics before hard-coding your production values. Using these 4 rules will keep your clusters healthy and your applications running smoothly. I believe this video will definitely be a useful video. If you like the video, please do like and hype the video. Also share it with your friends and groups. It may be useful to somebody else. If you have any doubts or any requests, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you have subscribed to stay updated for our regular videos. Join our WhatsApp community using the link in the description because we share more knowledgeable content every day. Thank you for watching. See you soon in the next video.